Truth is this: when you get success very early on in your life, how you deal with it is everything. And success is relative, right? Because somebody may get a certain accomplishment and they be like, "Oh, I'm not successful yet. I mean, do that. That's cool." I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those that get the success and they're like, "Yo, I've made it." The reason why I'm sharing this with you guys is because in my 20s, I didn't know how to celebrate or have fun without getting shit faced or doing a bunch of shit that probably wasn't best for my health. And this is why the lifestyle of entertainment is quote unquote like taboo for people to talk about, how awkward it is to be in this role, to be like quote unquote famous as a celebrity, and then to be in a club and then to have somebody recording you when you're just trying to have a good time. We'll get to that too one day. I'll talk to you guys about that, about people being in clubs or being outside and you having a good time and people are just recording you and it just gets very, very awkward. It's just nothing fun about being recorded like that. Now, I'm not saying if someone is in a dangerous situation, don't record. I'm not saying that at all. You should always pull your phone out. That is 100%. I don't fuck around with the weirdo behavior and shit going on like that. And the predatory behavior that can go on with men and women and things that I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's kind of awkward when you can't necessarily have a good time because somebody's recording you secretly and you're like, damn, okay, that ends up on a TikTok or ends up clipped up or it ends up, somewhere where it's not supposed to be, right? Okay. But this just goes back to me being younger and sharing with you guys, like my healing journey didn't really start until I was about 28, 27, 28. And even then, I wasn't even being honest with myself with how much help I needed. Uh, Here I am winning the championship, but I'm still not feeling like myself. And if anyone's dealt with depression or anxiety or suicidal thoughts, or you're involved in doing things that you should not be doing for your health, right? Whether that be alcohol, whether that be drugs, whether that be doing stuff that you're not supposed to be fucking doing, it changes you forever. And that's why I want to tell you guys, like, a clear mind is everything. You know what I mean? Having a peace of mind with what you're doing in the world is everything. But take it from me, right? You can have everything in the world. You can have the best, everything in front of you, but yet you don't know how to enjoy it. That was me, guys. That was me. And I've always had a kind heart. I've always had a big heart, but it's hard to enjoy life when all you're doing is trying to fill it with more dopamine, fill it with more partying, fill it with more empty relationships. And I just don't think that's the way to go. I'm not this relationship guru. I'm not gonna pretend like you guys should be taking all the advice from me. I'm just saying, just stand in my shoes for a quick second. Get to know me as Kai for a quick second, right? As Hela. Uh I wasn't always the best brother or the best son, right? And it really came down to because I wasn't ready to really let go of the ego, as they say, or let go of the selfishness of being dishonest or not telling people what it is and being upfront. A lot of us in the world, and especially in America, right? We don't like confrontation all the time. We just like to spew how we feel and we don't want to hear anything back from anyone. That used to be me. That used to be me. I didn't I used to wanna, like, get my point across, and then not listen to anything that someone else had to say, and that's just the worst type of personality type to be. A lot of people call you emotionally unavailable, or they call you callous, or they call you mean, or they call you don't understand, right? But like as you get older, I've been able to realize these things that I spent majority of my 20s fighting myself rather than enjoying life. I've spent most of my 20s trying to get people on, awaken people, like wake people up, wake people up. They call it like woke now, right? They called it like they took the word woke and then now put it into this category where you're like this conspiracy theorist that doesn't believe anything, but like you don't really have a say so because you've been canceled, or we don't really rock with what your views are because they're too controversial and you're not saying it the way we want you to say it. Right, I went through those phases, guys. I'm again, I don't know if you guys, a few of you, I know you guys know how old I am, but I'm 33. I'm a man. I'm not in this child space as much or as often mentally because I've graduated from that. I don't have time for the child. shit all the time. Like I have time for my children and to grow and also the younger generation, but like with older individuals, I don't have time to be a child with you all day. Everything is not like peachy all the time as an adult. Like adulting is not easy. Having kids, and especially in this world, having children in this world, being a husband in this world, being a man in this world, having your own thoughts in this world, having your own political views in this world, it is what it is. But I want you guys to learn that the more that you ask for help, the more that you go and seek out help, the more that you talk to your parents about what you're dealing with, the better that they'll understand what you're going through. But being silent about it, and again, guys, I was ultra successful. I had everything for me, but when I look back at my career and how I made moves, I would definitely make those moves a little bit different now knowing the tools that I have now internally to be able to regulate myself, to be able to talk about how I'm feeling, be able to talk through intense moments. Like I never had training or I never practiced it. Know what I'm saying? Like, and even if even if you're having disagreements with your family or you're having disagreements with people and you're ready to grow and you're ready to expand, but you don't know how to say it, you got to learn how to develop and practice the language to be able to grow beyond those moments. And that's why I'm doing this Twitch stream. That's why I'm on X. That's why I'm on these social platforms because do have a story to tell. I do have something to share with you guys about how you can not only just improve as a human being, but just improve as someone that is out here trying to make change and unify with others. I know a lot of spiritual individuals, right? Very spiritually driven individuals. I have a lot of spiritual friends, brothers and sisters. I have a lot of revolutionary brothers and sisters that are watching this stream, that are tuning in, that want to collab more. And what I've been doing is building myself to be ready to hold that space for them. I've just been trying to educate myself to be able to hold space for them so I can be ready to receive the knowledge that they're ready to pass on. Because I was very, I would say, I was very like I don't want to use these political terms that they've overused now, but I wasn't in the game. I wasn't in the game. I wasn't in the game at all. I thought I was participating, but I wasn't in the game. And until you get your feet wet in the game, especially when it comes to societal issues, you better be ready for the backlash. You better be ready for the pushback. You better be ready for the adversary sort of say. You better be ready for the controversial, responses. You better be ready for the criticism online. You just better be ready for what comes with this. And I can honestly say, late in my 20s, I wasn't ready for it. Here I am, even when I'm younger, I go on a podcast, I go on road tripping, with Ali, uh, and Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye. And, I'm over here talking about the CIA and Bob Marley, how it was a setup. I'm over here talking about how I thought the earth was flat and how it was a stationary plane and how the government was lying to us and all of these things were taking place on a podcast. But did I know the power of that podcast? No. Did I know that it would things were gonna come after that? No. Did I know? No, I didn't. I had no idea. You know what I mean? I'm just being a kid, like, oh, I just saw a few YouTube videos and this is what I'm about to put out. And I didn't know that that responsibility was on me, where now kids are going into science class and they're like, yo, it's Mr. or Mrs. So and so. Yo, the earth is flat. Kyrie said so. Again, whether you believe it or not, whatever side you're on, it's not important. It's just the fact that that became something that I had to deal with. And then my family members are asking me, yo, you think the earth is flat? I got friends asking me, yo, do you think the earth is flat? I got like legitimate people asking me, like, you really think the earth is flat? And I'm just like, yo, I did not expect it to get here. And I knew it got to a place once Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson are doing like 15-minute videos on this guy has to be the stupidest person around. This guy has to be the dumbest person around. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I took that personal. And then after that, I didn't really get on any other podcast or any other, like, I didn't feel media safe after that, because the episode still made it out. I had no PR training. I had no real awareness of how that was gonna be, and then boom, that happens, right? So, mind you, after winning the championship, that podcast comes out like a few months later, a year later. I don't know that I'm on top of the world, guys. All I know is I just won an NBA championship with my brothers. We're everywhere. But this what goes into the young peers that I'm talking to now is when you get to that place and you are on top of the world, you accomplish whatever it is. Whatever it is, right? And it doesn't mean that you have to accomplish something. It just means that you're put on this pedestal where now you have this responsibility because you have the influence and the power over children that are watching you, that are inspired by you. So, you know what I mean? Like everybody that looked up to me, I just felt like I did not set the best example because I didn't come out and explain it, right? I didn't have a chance to get on live stream and be like, yo, they saying that I think the earth is flat, yada, yada, da, 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 da. Here's what I mean. Let me show you the YouTube clips. Let me show you the reactions. Let me get somebody on here that actually believes that the earth is flat. And let me get somebody on here from NASA. Let me get somebody on here that believes like, why haven't we gone back to the moon? And then let me go back to somebody at any other space agency, right? I should have had the conversation be more open instead of me putting myself in this conversation as if I know it all. And that's where it came from. I'm not mad at the response. I'm not mad at the backlash, guys. I just had to learn. I own it. I own it. I take accountability for it. I don't need sympathy. I don't need pity from people. I don't need people to feel bad. I dealt with it, right? It happened already. But the fact that it gets brought up over and over in certain conversations, or people use Kyrie saying the earth is flat to discredit my intellect, that's fine. That time has come and gone. You know what I mean? I've initiated the conversation with people to let them know, especially when they bring it up like, time and place. But we all have questions about what's going on around us, at least for the most part of people that I hang around, right? We all have questions. We all have questions about what's going on around us, or we should all of us should have questions about what's going on. I just am gonna be honest with you guys, right? And I'm not gonna take a political approach. I'm approaching it as a human being. So it's been a ride, it's been a journey, right? And it's still going, God willing for me. I'm grateful. I don't take any of this for granted. Every time I take a breath in the rising, every time I wake up, I'm grateful because I know a lot of people don't get a chance to do that every day. And sometimes the night they go to sleep is their last breath and we don't know about it. So I want to have an enjoyable time on earth while still understanding what's going on around me, and evil cannot persist on this world, because that's where I feel like a lot of the anger, the jealousy, the manipulation negatively, the tactics used to keep us divided. They throw race in front of us, they throw religion in front of us, they throw, oh, we don't have the same hair in front of us, they throw these stereotypes in front of us, and then what does it actual amount to? It amounts to nothing but division. So here we are arguing over what I think about what the shape of the world is, but here we are, we have a whole class war going on, or we have government practices that are bigger than the issues in which I'm bringing up, or bigger than the subject I'm bringing up. So I've been able to learn that if they if you're saying something that is controversial, you just better be ready for the consequences. You learn who you can't criticize by the backlash and how you get canceled. You learn what you can't criticize. You learn about how they utilize quote unquote celebrities to push agendas without actually having a human connection with them, right? Because again, I said something the other day and went like kind of viral, and I was talking about how NPCs and celebrities and all these humans and people acting out and stuff like that. What I was really getting at was we live in a world where we have many diverse sections, right? We have many different people, many different cultures. We have many different beliefs. We are at a timeline in an era where all those cultures are clashing because we have to exist together, right? And when that happens, there's going to be somebody that's going to take something more serious than the other person, or the culture that's going to take something more serious, right? I don't know the importance of everything in every culture. I don't. I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm learning because I have a true appreciation for people being passionate, for being faithful, to being God driven, and for them believing that what their individual culture or religion practices should be most important. Now, on the other side, I don't stand for any religious wars. I don't stand for any political wars. I don't stand for any hate speech. I don't for violence. I don't stand for racism. And I damn sure don't try to practice habits that don't support us healing as a collective. Mind you, again, some people may look at this and be like, "Kyle, what are you talking about?" For those that are listening, all I'm saying is the era and the time is now for us to look beyond what was put in front of us to believe in. You know what I mean? Look beyond that. Look in front of you and see, okay, who else is actually saying the truth out here? This is the era of truth tellers. This is the timeline of truth tellers. Even if the evil individuals, right, or individuals that are allowing evil to exist and or are perpetuating evil acts or crimes against humanity, or they are war criminals, they also have a karmic debt. You know what I mean? I don't have control over that karmic debt. But when you're out here murdering innocent people, or you're standing on a side of history that doesn't support the equality of all walks of life, there is a karmic debt there. But it starts with the collective as humanity of waking up and rising up and realizing how we impact this positively moving forward, because it is politically driven. A lot of these things that are going on have the main detail is people are politically out organized. This is not the era of confusion, or and somebody said no, this is the era of confusion. You know, it Okay, cosmic retribution, you have evil entities. Somebody asked about reptilians as well. Like, are you religious? If not, or don't want to say, is fine. No, I am very aware of different spiritual practices around the world, different religious practices around the world, okay? It's not out of fear that I don't share what those practices are. It's just that majority of things that are great for human beings need to remain sacredly kept. Not everything needs to be public information, right? And even while I'm speaking in more generalizations here, not every like I don't share everything with you guys, because the real progress does happen in silence. And it does happen with people that are really dedicated to the work every day. I can put my money where my mouth is. I can show up to places, but I also know I'm not the only one. So I'm always going to promote those that are doing the work and that are alongside me, but also I wait for those individuals to really come out and let you guys know what it is, right? So while we sit on here on Twitch, I know, and on X, I know that this conversation is meant for those that are paying attention the way I'm paying attention, and those that are just joining. And I was talking to the younger generation about what they can do with all this information, right? And all I would say is you can't only do basketball out here, twin. You can't only be playing basketball out here, twin. I know you see it on your timeline, twin. You know, this is the era of truth. It's right in front of you. How are you not seeing what's going on? Everybody, primarily everybody, is looking down at their phones and is on some type of social media app that can see what's going on. You see that there are multiple genocides being live streamed, but yet we don't necessarily know how to go about it, because within humanity, if we are not politically organized, then this is what happens. Appreciate you, man. Texas Bushman, appreciate the gifted. Appreciate the gifted. Appreciate you. Then that's why I'm inspired by the people who came before me. I'm inspired by my ancestors. I'm inspired about taking back I'm inspired by taking back everything that was stolen from my ancestors, whether that be in ideas, inventions, our artifacts. I'm here on earth to make sure not everything, because I'm only one person, but I'm saying I'm here on earth to make sure that the conversation shifts back to restoring what has already been theirs. It's fine. It's fine. I know the order of things. I know law and order. I know how to protect my voice. So guys in the chat, appreciate you for all the advice. But look, I'm talking about how was life 60 years ago? How was life 100 years ago or 120 years ago versus what it's like today? I wouldn't be able to walk in the street or participate in economics without my ancestors doing what they did. You know, I'm not able to do what I do without people sacrificing and putting their lives on the line. I've lost hundreds of millions of ancestors at this point that should be on earth or should have families on earth that can exist to participate in this earthly experience. Their lives were taken too soon. We've had a lot of young mega revolutionaries or mega stars taken from us too soon because they were speaking the truth. And that's the unfortunate aspect of this is when you live in a day and age where truth can seem like it's dangerous to tell or it's a threat, then you have people that are doing everything to still promote and propagate all of the negative things that come from this, which is, again, they play on our sins and they play on our idea of money. And I'm one to say it because I've lost money fighting against causes, right? I've lost hundreds of millions of dollars fighting against things that I believe in. And not everybody can sit in this seat and say that they've lost hundreds of millions fighting for what they believe in.